What if I told you there are places in Europe where your entire monthly life costs less than a single rent payment in the United States? And I am not talking about boring places. I'm talking about mountain views, lakefront living, real cafes, real food, and a life that actually feels calm. Now here is the part almost nobody realizes. These places are still cheap only because the world has not fully noticed them yet, which means you are looking at a small window before prices change. Today we are counting down 2 hidden European countries where you can live for under $1,000 a month. And number 1 is so underrated that almost no one is talking about it right now. Number 2, North Macedonia. And listen carefully, because this is where things start to shift. Most people skip countries they have never heard of, and that is exactly why they miss the biggest opportunities. Because attention always comes later, but prices move first. Now picture this, you wake up in the morning, you step outside and you are looking at Lake Ohrid. Clear blue water, mountains behind it. Quiet streets, no noise, no rush. You grab a coffee for €1, sit down with no one pushing you to leave, and then it hits you. Your entire monthly life here costs between €600 to €850, that is roughly $650 to $900 total. Now let's break that down, because this is where it gets real rent first. You can find apartments near Lake Ohrid for €200 to €350. And we are not talking about tiny boxes. We are talking about actual livable spaces. Sometimes with balconies, sometimes with views. Now compare that to the US, where that same lifestyle would easily cost $2,000 or more. And that difference, right, there changes everything. Groceries, next local markets are everywhere. Fresh vegetables, fruits, bread, dairy. You can keep your monthly food cost under €150, which is around $160. And here is the twist. Eating out is not something you do once a week. Here it becomes normal. A full meal costs €5 to €10. Real food. Not fast food. Not rushed food. And suddenly your lifestyle upgrades without increasing your spending. But here is the part. Nobody tells you it is not just about saving money. It is about what your day feels like, because your time slows down. You're not constantly thinking about bills. You're not rushing through life just to keep up. You have space mentally and physically. And because North Macedonia is still under the radar, it feels authentic, not overcrowded, not built for tourists. It feels like a place where people actually live. Now you might be wondering, why is it this cheap? And this is important. It is not because it is a bad place. It is because global attention has not fully arrived. Yet infrastructure is good enough, internet is stable, daily life is simple and smooth. But demand is still low, and that is exactly what creates opportunity, because once more remote workers and retirees start noticing this, prices will move and they will not come back down. Of course, let's be honest, no place is perfect. Winters can be cold, job options are limited if you are not working online and English is not everywhere. But if your goal is retirement or location freedom, these are not deal breakers. They are small trade-offs for a completely different lifestyle. Now, here is the question that changes everything. If your expenses drop by 50% starting next month, what would you actually do differently? Would you keep living the same life, or would you finally give yourself a different experience? Because what you just saw is only number 2. And number 1 goes even further. Number 1, Armenia. And this is where things get seriously interesting, because Armenia is not just cheap. It is early, very early, almost no mainstream attention. Very few people talking about it. And that is exactly why it still feels like a hidden opportunity. Now imagine this, you wake up in a capital city surrounded by mountains. You walk through streets filled with history. You sit in a cafe, order a full meal, and your total monthly cost, including everything, is between $600 to $900. Now let's break it down. Rent in Yerevan, the capital. You can find apartments starting from $250 to $400. And these are real apartments, not shared, not temporary, your own place. Now think about that for a second. In many US cities, that amount does not even cover a room. Groceries next. You can comfortably live on $150 to $200 per month. If you cook and if you decide to eat out, this is where it gets crazy. $5 to $8 for a full meal. Sometimes even less. And again, real food, fresh ingredients, full portions. But here is where Armenia becomes different from everything else. You have seen so far growth potential because this country is still developing, More people are slowly discovering it. More businesses are entering, but prices have not caught up yet. And this exact stage is where the biggest advantage exists, because once attention increases, cost follows and that window starts closing. Now let's talk about lifestyle, because this is what really matters. You wake up without financial pressure, you are not constantly checking your bank account, you are not calculating every expense. Your day feels open. You have time to explore, to relax, to actually live. And when you combine that with a culture that is welcoming food, that is rich and unique, and a city that feels alive but not overwhelming, it creates a lifestyle that feels completely different from the high-stress environments most people are used to. Now, again, let's stay real. Armenia is not as developed as Western Europe. It is not part of the EU, and there are regional tensions people talk about. But here is what matters. Daily life for most people is stable, normal, and peaceful. And the cost advantage you get here is massive, especially if your income comes from the US or Europe. Now think about this clearly. If you earn in dollars or euros and live in a place like Armenia, your financial stress does not just reduce, it almost disappears. You move from survival mode into control mode. And that is a completely different way of living. And this is exactly why almost nobody is talking about these places yet, because attention has not fully reached them. But it will, and when it does, prices will rise. They always do. Which means the real question is not whether these places are good. The real question is timing. Are you early or are you late? Now, I want you to do something simple. Compare your current life, your monthly expenses, your stress, your routine, and ask yourself honestly, is it worth it, or would you at least consider trying something different, even for a few months? Because sometimes one decision completely changes your entire life experience. If this video made you think, even a little comment below, which country surprised you more, North Macedonia or Armenia? I read every single comment, and if you want more hidden countries before they become expensive, make sure you subscribe now, because the next video will go even deeper, and some of those places are even cheaper than what you saw today. And if you want to support the channel, tap Super Thanks or join as a member. It truly helps keep this going.